Bavarian Alps character. And this one is created just for Taggart. So in this level, you will be playing just as Taggart, the covert operative. And it's based on a really sneaky, stealthy approach. So there's a lot of areas that are what we call stealth or hidden zones. You can see the stance icon here goes black. That's signifying to the player that they are now hidden. So the AI, again, I mentioned, uses vision and hearing to determine where the enemies are. Right now, so long as that is black, he would be invisible to the player. So as the enemy walks by, he wouldn't be able to see the players right there. Another thing to mention with Taggart is his default weapon is a silent Sten gun. So when he fires a weapon, it doesn't actually make any noise. Now, if he was firing that MP40 that he picked up or another weapon, he would have alerted that and immediately would come running. This is the pick and lock skill that I mentioned earlier from the previous level. And another stealth zone. So one of the, depending on the enemy, one of the more skilled shots is to try to get a silent kill with with your knife. That guy's not a good target because he's facing you, but we'll see if we can find one of the enemies that we can get around back on him and try to do the stealth kill. Again, these are not, all these enemies are not scripted, so sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Another thing you can do with that knife is by pushing in the right thumbstick, it throws the knife, the projectile weapon. And what some of you may have noticed on the radar here is different colored dots that are signifying the enemies. The red dots that you've seen before are enemies that are in combat mode. They have seen an enemy and they are actively trying to pursue them and attack them. The yellow dots that you've seen are enemies that are on patrol or idling or just generally unaware of any other enemies in the vicinity. And an orange one is one that has heard an. Let's see if you can stealth kill this guy. There you go. And an orange dot here would represent an enemy that has heard a noise and is in investigative mode. So if you were to make a noise like standing up instead of crouching and walking, the guy will hear you. Go ahead and crouch, see if you can hide back in the hide zone. He'll start searching around for the player. He'll go to the spot where he heard the noise and see if he can't find out what's going on. Eventually, he'll give up and go back to his regular patrol. So in this level, you've freed one of the doctors named Dr. Fielder, who was being used by the Germans to create, against his will, a secret weapons program. So if you see the guy with the glasses behind you, that's who he is. He's actually a friendly. So now you switched over, used the radio rally point, you switched over to the Ranger, and using one of the Ranger's special skills, the rope and hook, you're going to be able to climb to this area and get to a special sniper vantage point. It's going to allow him to get the beat on enemies that the other guys wouldn't be able to get. Again, you notice one of the default weapons that is different about the Ranger is he's using a Springfield rifle. And one of the skills he has with that is he can use that to control his breath by pressing the use key. That'll stop the weapon sway, allow him for a more accurate shot. I think you guys got the idea of the sniper vantage point. So we'll have him climb back down, go to that radio rally point, and say, well, you know, I've taken out the guys I could with the Ranger. Maybe I want to try as Taggart and see what he can do about that. So run over, switch over to Taggart, and see if you can use some of his skills to help advance. Now he might die here because there's quite a lot of enemies. We'll see if we can't make a break for the locked door. Now Ross or Bull would have to go back up those stairs and directly face all those enemies. Taggart would have the ability to unlock this door, allow him to get around those enemies, and there's an MG42 placement that faces right outside that door. So now by using Taggart, he's able to flank these enemies and not have to come straight into the contact of the MG42. I know we're running low on time, so why don't you pop out of here and we'll show you one of the vehicle levels. Now, the next level, you are escaping with Fielder, and he knows our location where there's a vacant German Panther tank. And so you're able to steal this German Panther tank, and there's some tank-on-tank battles and some tank-on-infantry battles. Now, one of the things we wanted to do in our victory is we didn't want to have a level that completely required you to use a vehicle. We just wanted to have vehicles in them. So anytime you come across a vehicle that's not being used, a vacant vehicle, the player is allowed to jump in there and out of the vehicle whenever they want, not just where the level designer says. So for instance, on this level, of course we have we're showing you a pre-alpha version here, so sometimes we have a couple problems. So we'll see if we can't get that tank to right itself. There we go. All right. So using the tank, it uses the same basic controls as the first-person portion. The left analog stick moves you. The right analog stick is your sight, and your right trigger is your main turret. Your left trigger is your machine gun. There's a mounted machine gun on the front of the tank. So one of the things you might notice is some of the enemies. If you see an enemy infantry running around, they will actually recognize that you're in a tank and that it's not really advantageous for them to attack you while you're in a tank. So you'll see them cowering and running away and routing. Now, if you were to jump out of the tank, they'll go in and go ahead and engage you. So right now he's battling some enemies with Panzer Strikes that are hidden throughout the level, along with a Taggart tank up ahead. He's taking shots from the Panzer and from the Tiger. Looks like his tank is dust now. I don't think he's going to make it. Oh, he found a Panther Strike. Maybe if you could use that quick enough. No, almost. Almost. You had the weapon, but you just didn't have quite enough time.